Listen up, bro. It's the legendary Kurt Nice.
Kurt Nice, no doubt.
That's the original concept too. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, well, that's what we hope. Kurt Nice, no
Mixed
doubt.
video type joint. That's the original concept.
Many different hip-hop shades to crave, flavor to the grave, all the tracks that we play. Hip-hop shades to crave, flavor to the grave, many different hip-hop shades to crave, flavor to the grave. Hey, yo, eyes on these, point blank out some copies. Fell from a Q to a jalopy. Big wheel, but ain't shit with a small bill. Me, I'm all real with balls still. I fuck with nice and skills and cheese on the wheels. Drop tapes and shop deals. Put shit on lock like EBs with back wheels. Mixtapes look like crack still. Your power park get closer too far. The camera's cheap. That niggas can't compete. My staff is too elite. Queen City Steve Chief of the Jeep Cherokee. Still a one straight from 117th and 9th. Life is trite, but skills is precise. Yo, I fuck with Kurt Nice, cause this shit is dumb nice. Best. On the track that we play, many different hip-hop shades to crave, flavor to the grave. On the tracks that we play, many different hip-hop shades to crave.
DMC, but you know we'll be Muhammad D with the M plus B. 10 pound be getting down plus. What's your name again? I forgot it. It's something like Greg, but it's the nice on the end.
Coming through shades of hip hop, perfection you see every time. So pick up this tape inside the stores.
Word up, the #1 video mixtape. So word up.
Definitely shades of hip hop. It's definitely in the house of South Liverpool.
My man Kurt Nice, shades of hip hop.
Hey, you know the flavor shades of hip hop.
Different shades, man. It's not Gucci shades, not Chanel shades, not shades of blackness. It's shades of hip hop.
See that is shade. That's why we call shades of hip hop.
Thanks for the Kurt Nice, cause you know they wouldn't do no video for no skit, but shades of hip hop always underground, always keeping it real, and that's one love again. Some niggas in the dirt twice when I'm on shades of hip hop with Kurt Nice.
Doing this live for my nigga Kurt. You know what I mean? Shades of hip hop.
Shades. This is the shades right now. We got all spectrums up in this piece right now.
Put out the Terror Squad, my man, Can the Bunch, you know what I'm saying? Shades of hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Keep it real.
Shades of hip hop.
That shit is fly. You need to use that.
Drop to the tip top, you know what I'm saying? Shades of hip hop. Word up, Shades of hip hop.
Time for a tape.
Speaking of which,
Holly Side, 1998, John Forte, Shades of hip hop, and I love all y'all.
Shades of hip hop can make a nigga famous. Many different hip hop shades to crave. Flavor to the grave over tracks that we blaze. Many different hip hop shades to crave. Flavor to the grave over tracks that we blaze.
No lights or cameras, action, women to smoke. Sign artist freestyle, plus them niggas just roll. Best of both worlds, underground to the top. Interviews with crews, the honeys by the plot. We blaze the thick blocks, the shades of hip hop. To them niggas that bit, keep your eyes off our dick. Can catch the milk spit and watch it get drip. While you stressing, I'm landing some silk shit. Via satellite, local raps attack. Visual tracks, putting shades on the map. Stat for 99, Malgall, fade to black.
Fade to black, yeah. Many different hip hop shades to crave. Flavor to the grave over tracks that we blaze. Many different hip hop shades to the grave over tracks that we blaze.
Listen up, bruv. It's the legendary Kurt Nice.
Raw Deal Rap Show. Thank you, Curtis.
My name is Shi Yanming. I'm a 34th generation Shaolin Temple monk. Welcome watching Shades of Hip Hop. Yes.
Shades of hip hop, baby.
Shades of hip hop.
Kurt Nice, no
Mixed
doubt.
video type joint. That's original concept too.
Alright.
Niggas see a Shades of hip hop tape. Me personally, I wanna hear nigga cursing on your shit.
Shades of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I like that because we get to say just what the fuck we want to say. Of course. Underground raw. She said no cleaning it up.
Ain't none of that censored, that stupid shit. That beep. Every time nigga fuck it, wanna say it's mine.
Fuck it. Pardon me. We represent by the drop. Alright, it's shades of hip hop. Shades of hip hop.
I like that niggas be raw. You know what I'm saying? Straight gritty. You know what I'm saying? Straight dogged, rugged. I
That's all like. Yo, what up, what up, what up? This is Big Rup, 1/2 of Helter Skelter, 1/5 of the Fab Five, with my nigga Aguilar, 8 off this ass.
I mean, like, it's like, shades of hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
My shit it drop like rain with every shade of hip hop. Spit your love if it's hot and fuck it if it's not. I make niggas see bitches say I can't figure me. Tell my future through my history, vividly breathe divinity lyrically. Scholars in the game consider me a star falling on this industry. Y'all gon' remember me, my laws prepared for war. And be sure how I walk surround niggas like the walls of a mall. And you gon' see half the picture after I chew fat with you. I grab pieces like
watching Shades of Hip Hop.
My words is like caps if they hit you. If niggas wanna take it, then I keep the idea. I make it physical. The game got my brain fucked up from all the changes. I used to want big wheels, now it's Pizzies and Rangers. Fans can't quarter my life to blow it up and frame it. Shades of hip hop can make a nigga famous. Many different hip hop shades to crave. Flavor to the grave over tracks that we blaze. Many different hip hop shades to crave. Flavor to the grave over tracks that we blaze.
Shades of hip hop.
Yeah, let my man go.
Shades of hip hop. 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 Shades of hip hop.
Hip hop.
Shades of hip hop.
That's it.
Freestyle?
Yeah, if you want.
Hey yo, you got the camera lens on that or it's good?
It's good, man. It's good.
Oh, okay, my bad. Hey yo, it's the Funk Flav, Mickey Mac, you know what I'm saying? AKA the General. Right here, boy, Shades of Hip Hop. Funk Flav.
I got DMX, John Forte, Big Punisher right here, Shades of Hip Hop. 9-8, Planet of the Queens, nigga. Whoa.
Video mixtape, Shades of Hip Hop. We right here. We right here. We right here, dog. We right here, dog. Where my dogs at? We right here, dog. See, you're supposed to be catching all this, dog. This is the real. You know, you don't want the perform shit, the rehearse shit.
Me and DMX, whether jeans or suit on.
What?
With the lip long.
Yes.
Get charged what? The X was cool. I had met him a couple times before. He was like, yeah, right, what else is cool?
Yeah, dog.
Hey, yo.
That's my dog.
Shades of Hip Hop. Y'all all got to give a happy birthday to this man right here, the hottest nigga coming out on the street.
What?
DMX, you know what I'm saying? El Capitan, Don John Forte, Refugee Camp, Brownsville, another
Cannabis, Punisher, Mike G,
Most Def,
Most Def.
98.
Where's my
graduates, alumni?
Where's my dogs at, baby?
One love to all the Sagittarians in
Yes,
the crib.
yes.
Aquarius.
Yes. We all up in here, baby. Where's my dogs at? We all up in here, dog. Hold me down, baby.
I know.
That is real hip hop, you know what I mean? It's that real hip hop, it's like Shades of Hip Hop, you know what I'm saying? Keep that same shit that you known for. Y'all known for motherfuckers getting on y'all shit and say motherfucker, fuck shit, bitch, motherfucker, suck dick. Y'all known for that shit, you know what I'm saying?
Alright.
something about pagers constantly beeping. That then took on a meaning of getting noticed and everyone knowing your name. Today, it mostly refers to having lots of money. Back in the 1990s, however, it meant something even more, which was a little harder to explain. Now yes, it was about being famous, but more than that, it was about being known for something, being considered that guy for whatever your particular skill was. You would know if it was you when somebody said, "That's that nigga," or "He's that nigga." It was about being that nigga for whatever it was. Maybe you were a DJ or MC or a producer, or in my case, a guy doing video mixtapes. The key was to eventually be known as that nigga. That was blowing up. Now in the 1990s, that was all people like us thought about in our spare time. It seemed like it happened to so many others at the time. It's the classic Hollywood story of being discovered, but in the 90s it was happening for formerly untrained urban youth in hip-hop. It seemed like one day someone would be relatively obscure to most people, then pow, they blow up. One day it's Biggie doing a Supercat remix, then next thing you know he drops Juicy and Biggie's everywhere. Everybody knows him. Never mind the years of grinding behind the scenes, blowing up seemed more spontaneous. The years of obscurity and hard, thankless work not only paid off, but became a foggy memory in the midst of so much excitement and success. Blowing up embodied the shiny side of fame, the recognition, the accolades, the monetary rewards, and upscale access. It's the same treasure anyone has ever sought over the years trying to become famous. And again, like the classic Hollywood story, one day some waitress is trying to break into show business and the next day she's Marilyn Monroe or somebody. The only difference was that in the 1990s, our own art form, hip-hop, not Hollywood, was making it possible to blow up. That was something new. Hip-hop content started to make a lot of money for all levels in the business, from the producer and the record company to artists and even bootleg music distributors. Hip-hop products were a source of stable income for retailers and producers starting in the 1990s, and it seemed like anybody could get a piece of the action. We had our own niche too. Living in Plainfield, New Jersey, my roots of travel took me to Newark and New York on almost a daily basis. Since 1989, I co-produced cable shows on local TV, which took me behind the scenes of the emerging hip-hop business. Now, hundreds of hours of interviews and outtakes, or B-roll as it's properly called, were stacked up on VHS and 3/4-inch tapes in boxes like DJ crates in my apartment. That's what they became to me. Footage was like records or recordings of stuff on video instead of just audio alone. Whether it was performances at shows, street rhyme ciphers, or cats just building on hip-hop as a culture, it was all stacked up in plastic storage bins like the kind that you would get at Kmart. It was all documented recordings in boxes of videotapes stacked up in my one-bedroom apartment. Most of them were labeled in some random way too, intentionally to confuse my friends rummaging through my stuff when I wasn't paying close attention. DJs back then used plain white labels on records so people wouldn't know what they were spinning. That way, other DJs wouldn't be able to copy their playlist of music. They would have to go search for the music themselves. That's what made a DJ exceptional, the catalog of exclusive and obscure records in their crates. DJs used to be extra secretive about their samples too. They would white label a record with some ill-ass vocals or instrumentation on it and maybe label it number 4 or dope beat number 4, just to throw people off. My system of labeling came from that perspective. Friends of mine would question and casually rummage through tapes as we talked and smoked while I edited in my home studio. That was where the idea for Shades of Hip Hop video mixtapes came from. Now, as I played footage we recorded for whatever cable video show I worked with at the time, friends of mine would become transfixed by footage that would never actually make it to the local cable airwaves. The best stuff, it seemed, was the stuff that was too raw for cable TV. There were guidelines against coarse language and weed smoking for one, and two, people were not accustomed to watching hip-hoppers sitting around smoking and building about hip-hop or just talking shit. It wasn't flashy enough. People wanted to see expensive videos or exclusive performances, And yes, we had that too. That's what we showed on the cable shows across New Jersey on all the major cable networks. Back then it was Store Cable, TKR Cable, and one or two other ones which all ended up being bought by Comcast Cable.
I was ugly because niggas was scared to look at me. I started reading.
On those cable networks, we aired the footage most people knew me for. I was the guy going around to different New York and New Jersey clubs back in the 90s doing local cable shows just like Yo MTV Raps or Rap City or Video Music Box used to do. Because of our proximity to New York, we got some of the hottest footage of hip-hoppers from small clubs on the underground. We taped press days and behind-the-scenes stuff like you would see on an Entertainment Tonight show for actors and rock musicians. But our footage wasn't as glamorous. Our footage was more raw, made on cheaper cameras with less expensive lighting too. But that was okay for hip-hop fans. Hip-hoppers in the early 1990s especially looked kind of grimy. Some of us who had grown up during the transformation of hip-hop culture from obscurity saw the power this new culture possessed. Other people who wished to capitalize on the growing financial power of rap music recognized the strength of the culture for its ability to generate money. On one level, hip-hop music was trying to floss its financial success and on the other, maintain a hard-edged underground credibility in the street. Hip-hop had already made its distinction from rap with the whole MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice era and the phrase, rap is something you do, hip-hop is something you live, which was coined by KRS-One. The footage me and my friends liked was on the hip-hop side of the equation. Because of that, I had to be careful about showing my friends some obscure, ill-ass footage of so-and-so MC kicking a verse at some badly lit hole-in-the-wall club somewhere that was never actually going to get shown on cable. Sometimes, those tapes would come up missing if they were too obviously labeled. They would be like, "Oh, Jackson, you were never going to use that footage for anything anyway." That's the admission I would get back after hours of delving to the bottom of some deep argument about missing videotapes. So I started to rethink the situation and cut them off before they got curious. I decided to put the hot segments we all seemed to like on one videotape. Then, if friends wanted to borrow a tape, I could let them, or better yet, they could just buy it for $10 and they wouldn't have to give it back at all. This was back when a good videotape could cost $4.99. So $5 worth of hot shit was a complete bargain, including the tape, especially when no one else had the footage. This was all the stuff that would never be on cable TV anyway. It was raw, uncensored, unscripted, and real life everyday reality, something you really didn't see on TV much back then. By 1992, when The Real World debuted on MTV, we had already been mimicking Ralph McDaniel's Video Music Box by taping in all the local spots around New Jersey and then airing it on local cable. However, most of that footage never aired on cable. But in 1995, clips of it were brought back for our first official video mixtape for Shades of Hip Hop called Trains to Newark NYC. Now on that tape, Trains to Newark NYC, which was actually a videotape because it was on VHS, was footage from 1992 when we caught a wicked in-store session with Duck Down's first group, Black Moon, which was comprised of Evil D, Buttshot Shorty, and the 5 Foot Accelerator with Drew Ha.
So we in New Brunswick right now. We're here with my man Drew, who happens to be...
One of the most helpful aspects to underground video was the presence of independent video rental stores. Videotape rentals used to be a lucrative business in the 1990s. You wouldn't know that looking around today, but at one time, video rental stores were more popular than bookstores or video arcades. Before the heydays of Blockbuster Video, mom and pop video stores were a treasure trove of obscure and rare movie titles. Because again, there was no YouTube, no streaming services, and nothing for you to just watch movies at your house unless you owned a copy of it or you rented it. At independent video stores, managers were able to purchase their own product at the full retail cost, then rent the tape to people as many times as they wanted while charging whatever they wanted. So because of that, some first-run hit movies used to retail for up to $100 per copy on VHS, and then they would rent it for $5 for 2 days before you had to pay a $1 to $2 a day late fee. Now, movie distributors knew stores would get a heavy return off the rentals and were easily able to get over $50 per tape if they had name brand actors and Hollywood budgets for their movies. The way the stores were set up was very helpful too. The different sections would help guide you to a film you had never heard of or one you hadn't seen in a long time. Unfortunately, there was no real section built for us most of the time. Our projects weren't movies or musicals, and there was no such thing as a music video section because nobody had tried to sell their videos for the most part yet. Most of the time, our tapes had long periods where it was just talking with no music videos at all. There would be music as background track, but a lot of it was just interviews and studio sessions. This placed us where we needed to be though, which was in the documentary section. Unlike most documentaries at the time, ours wasn't about history as much as it was about history in the making. Our documentaries were about current history as it was being written. Shades of Hip Hop was what we call an urban culture video mixtape documentary. In effect, it was like a reality show about underground hip hop through the eyes of some video guys from New Jersey. We just called it Shades of Hip Hop. It's funny now that I can sort of take pride in being a hip-hop nerd in the 1980s and 1990s. Back in the day, the strange tech guys that were into video and hip-hop like myself were an eclectic bunch. Some of us wore glasses, dressed weird, and all shared a love of documenting hip-hop culture. Recording everyday street life, or better yet, all down, candid moments with familiar hip-hop faces was something new in the 1990s because video technology wasn't as accessible. Among the hours of tape I recorded during that time are some classic pieces that have embedded themselves in the fabric of the culture. One of those sessions deserves special consideration because it may be a singularly unmatched piece of hip-hop history. It will also allow me to finally pose the question, is the Shades of Hip Hop cipher the best recorded rhyme cipher in hip-hop history? Every December, I reminisce on one of my favorite memories in hip-hop. This past December, I finally realized how to classify that moment. Now, sometimes I flirted with the idea that I lucked out and recorded the best cipher in hip-hop history, but it wasn't exactly that. The one I recorded, I considered to be the number 2 cipher in hip-hop history. The best cipher in hip-hop history was the one many still might not have actually even seen. It was from the finale of the Arsenio Hall show. Now, the eclectic group of MCs he had on stage, all in their prime condition, will never be matched again. It featured Yo-Yo, MC Light, Tretch, Fife, Q-Tip, Chip Fu, CL Smooth, Guru, Das Effects, Jizza, KRS-One, and Mad Lion. Now, admittedly, the mic quality and the caliber of the rhymes may not have been the best, but at the same time, it was revolutionary on a whole different level. Arsenio Hall allowed regular underground MCs to populate his performance section long before it was wise to do so on mainstream TV. That's part of the reason why it's the number 1 cipher in hip-hop history. Now, the cipher I recorded was much more intimate and personal. On the level of talent and significance of the rhymes, it was top-notch and may be considered a number 1. But the place where it's really number 1 is the fact that I just realized. The rhyme cipher I recorded is just one part of the dopest one-camera shoot in the history of hip-hop culture. Now, when you realize the video you see and the angles you get, from the start of the conversation to the end of the cannabis rhyme, is all one long shot from one camera, you know just how unique this footage actually is. Now, people post glowing comments about the rhyme cipher portion itself on bootleg YouTube copies that have millions of hits, but The rhyme is made more significant because of what they discussed prior to spitting their verses. And the weight of those rhymes spit by Mos Def and Big Pun were from their vast arsenal of gems, but probably ranked in their minds as their personal favorite to rock in this kind of situation. Now, the final point that solidifies the ranking is the rhyme Cannabis spit for the first time in public ever, which was his second round knockout LL Cool J diss.
And if you really want to get it on, we can get it on. Live in front of the cameras on your own sitcom. I'll let you kick a verse. Fuck it, I'll let you kick them all. I'll even wait for the studio audience to applaud. Clap, clap. Now watch me rip the tap from your arm. Stick you in the groin, kick you in your Vanguard Award. Snatch your Vanguard Award in front of your mom, your first, second, and third born. Make your wife get on the horn, call Minister Farrakhan.
Exactly, it's a work. It's not like, hold up, I ain't sound like that on the corner studios out all over. We do it.
You can do it without me. The best you can do. The best you can do. Without respect.
Because like when I first tried to do actually I've done some bros but I'm a passionate individual. So with me, with my voice, it's like I try to use my voice like a singer in a way that, like, you know, there's.
But you do sing though.
Yeah.
You sing well.
I just certain inflections that I try to use for certain things. It's like I can't come. I try to have some range in what I'm doing. I can't come. Certain songs are dealing with certain topics. Certain songs, my voice is one way, and on other songs, my voice is another way. I try to, like, you know, cover the gamut of emotions. Sometimes you be talking to somebody you love, and you're cool. You be talking to a girl, and your voice will be one way, and then you be talking about something political or something that you're passionate about, and your voice will be another.
That's separate the real lyricists. Funny, because sometimes it's just lyrical, but they don't know when to do that.
Yeah.
That's why we spend the cats like. He'll rock the bells and he'll be, well, I'm alone on the move. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I talk to like Smooth, my man Smooth the Hustler. I love when Smooth the Hustler. But then he did a song about another thing and he just keep talking. I was like, yo, wait, boss. You know, comment like, comment like, yeah, comment like this. Like, I mean, if the beat is something, I will rhyme or something. You see me walking on these covers. Then I'm on the beat like, you know, so love, gotta say nothing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta come with different flows.
Depending on the beat.
Yeah, you can
and how you feel about it. That's like, well, this is what I'm saying. So
become that instrument.
Exactly.
Man, right here once again, Curtin ICE. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some quick reactions to some footage that's discussing the footage that I actually recorded back in the day that became known as the Cypher. And as you can check on my channel, the footage from the Roundtable Cypher, which you see part of it is in the background. You see Cannabis and DMX right there. That's from the Cypher. That's the Roundtable session with Cannabis, DMX, John Forte, Mike Geronimo, Big Pun, and Mos Def, carried out by the Village Voice. The interview was done by Torre, and I recorded that for Shades of Hip Hop back in 1997 on DMX's birthday, December 18th of 1997. It came out first on Hot to Death in 1998, which was one of our mixtapes before anybody that you know was doing a video mixtape. The first original video mixtape that ever existed in hip hop was Shades of Hip Hop, right? First widely broadcast in all the stores in New York, the first available one. People might have been in their hood passing out to their friends like I was doing earlier than when I put it in stores. I was doing the same thing. Possibly some other people might have been doing it, you know, some of the other people that were doing cable shows like us. And I heard Ralph, you know, in the trailer for his the documentary that's on Showtime, I believe, that Nas produced, the documentary about Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box. I heard Ralph say that, oh, it was, you know, Video Music Box was sort of like a video mixtape.
It was really a video mixtape in the beginning.
Sort of, but not really, Ralph. because all your stuff was censored because it was on cable, just like my cable show at the same time. Like back when Ralph was doing shows and I was doing shows, Ralph started earlier than me. He's a pioneer. I met up with him many times and have given him that love and that credit.
It's Kurt Nice for Video Clubhouse once again, and we here with the pioneer himself, Ralph McDaniels, Video Music Box. What's up, man?
Nothing, everything's cool, man. Just chilling out tonight with Motown. Big shout out.
But he did not start Video Mixtapes. I did. You know what I'm saying? I actually started Video Mixtapes with Shades of Hip Hop. That was the first official, and still to this day, the best video mixtape that ever existed in hip hop. The first and the best. Shades of Hip Hop, Video Mixtapes. And that's what it used to say on the cover. It used to say Shades of Hip Hop, Video Mixtape Documentaries. Because there was no such thing. So the only thing, so to get it into the video store, I had to put on their documentary too, so that they would put it in the documentary section and not check the rating, like the R rating and stuff, because we always had X-rated material on our tapes. So I was like, put it in the documentary section next to Faces of Death and Tommy and stuff like that, like music documentaries and just documentaries and weird shit. That's what Shades of Hip Hop used to be when it first came out, until it got real big, and then they started putting it up into the new release section, you know, with like multiple. And I wish I had pictures of this, man. That's one thing I wish I had pictures of, like going into a video store and seeing like a whole couple of shelves, maybe even a whole wall of Shades of Hip Hop catalog in the new release section. But here we have on Talib Kweli's show, getting back to the cypher, Talib Kweli's show, The People's Party, he brought on John Forte. And as you guys know, if you follow me on this channel, you know that I told you the way that I actually ended up recording the cypher was because I was doing promotion for John Forte. His people got in contact with my man, Marcus Blasingame. He's a stylist. Shout outs to him. He does a lot of dope stuff. He got in contact with Blast, right? And then Blast called me on the three-way with John Forte on the phone. So John Forte called Blast. Blast called me. So now we're all on a three-way. And he's like, yo, I want to do some promotion. I want to be on Shades of Hip Hop. I'm about to come out with an album. This is the end of 1997, going into 1998. That's when he was about to drop his debut album. All right. He was working with the refugee camp and all of that. Right. The Fugees and all of that. Right. But he was about to drop his debut album. So he wanted to be on Shades of Hip Hop, which was the only video mixtape out at the time, you know, that was on and popping. You could do uncensored shit on there. He wanted to be on Shades of Hip Hop. So again, we discussed where he was going to be. He said he was going to be in the studio. He said he was going to be doing a show somewhere. He said he was going to be doing a couple other things, stuff that we had already recorded. You know what I mean? Type of stuff that, you know, we've been to mad shows already. We've been to mad studio sessions already. You understand? So I was like, no. I wanted to see the scope of what he was saying he was going to do. Then he brought up the Village Voice interview with Torre, right? He said, I'm going to be doing an interview with Torre, freshman class, people that's about to drop albums this year. We're going to be doing an interview section at this cafe in New York coming up like next Tuesday or some shit. So I was like, that sounds interesting. I was like, who's supposed to be there? He's like, there should be a bunch of people there, you know, maybe Cannabis, Big Pun, DMX might be there, Because at that point, they only had singles and stuff out. Nobody had an album out yet. Cannabis hadn't dropped Second Round Knockout yet. DMX hadn't dropped 2 platinum albums yet. He just had a couple of singles like Get At Me Dog and something else was out. I think he had Stop Being Greedy. It just came out. Pun had just dropped a couple of singles. He didn't drop his album yet. I'm Not a Player. He had dropped that and a couple of stuff, some stuff with Joe, but no album yet. Mos Def had never dropped an album yet. So you just heard of him messing with Daylight. You just knew who Mos Def was, you know what I'm saying? But he didn't really have no big songs yet. Of course, Mike Geronimo was actually the most known sort of at that time. He had just actually did a track with Bad Boy with Puffy. You know, he had did a remix for one of his songs with Puffy and shit. Irv Gotti was producing him at the time. And actually, if you watch that footage, you'll see I kind of pan over to Irv Gotti because I saw, like, I didn't actually know who Irv Gotti was. It's just that when I always used to go to all of these different hip hop spots, I would always see him. So I didn't even know who he was, but I just knew he was somebody because every time I would be like at some of these different parties and clubs and stuff, I would see him or like somewhere. But later on, I came to realize that was Irv Gotti. But that's what I would do. Like when I was on the camera at this point. So like I would always get the flavor of the room. So you would feel like you was there. So you would get to see what was going on. Sometimes I don't shoot behind me, but all the stuff in front of me, I will let you see the different corners of the room, who's sitting at what table, what they doing, if somebody's eating the French fry while somebody else is talking, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of footage you can see. It's just one camera shoot, you know, still to this day, the best one camera angle shot, you know what I'm saying? The best one shot in hip hop is the cypher. There was no cuts, you know what I'm saying? It was just all one shot. And that's the type of footage I would get. Here we have on Talib Kweli's show, we got John Forte discussing what he thought about that. So this is the first time I'm seeing this whole footage.
Of seeing that video of was it DMX birthday party or some event? It's on YouTube. It's John Forte, Cannabis, it's Cannabis, Mike Geronimo.
And hold up, see, and this is the other thing that's fucked up. When Talib Kweli pulls this fucking footage up, right? He don't even pull it up from my channel, the person that actually made the footage. He doesn't pull up from my channel, the person that has the whole cipher. He pulls it up from some random ass YouTube channel that bootlegged it for whatever. Shout outs to them, whatever, for keeping the footage alive and all that shit when I wasn't really messing with it like that. And I didn't want people to see it, but he was just playing the rhyme portion. This footage has millions of hits over different YouTube bootleggers. You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, on my little ghetto ass channel that y'all barely see, you know, it's not going to look like that. But in all reality, y'all seen this footage. This is classic hip hop footage. You know, so when you see Video 94 come up, that ain't me. That's some other nigga that bootlegged my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's Mike Geronimo.
No. Yeah, Cannabis, Big Pun.
Yeah. Yasin Bey. Yeah. This is the most diverse group of New York MCs that you could probably sit around the table. In that era, we were all preparing. I wasn't there, but I was there in spirit. Yes. But we were all as up and coming MCs preparing to be in the industry, to put out records. So y'all were comparing verses that y'all wrote, but that at that point, most of us didn't come from having studios. So you just had verses ready to go in case you got to a studio. So it's like, okay, check this one out.
And again, if y'all want to see the original footage for this, just check my channel. Okay, because I actually have the original footage. I'm the one that actually recorded this. That's me on the camera right here. You know what I'm saying? Tons of people have bootlegged it, obviously. That's why you've seen it. You know, so that's why I don't fully hate, because, you know, that's how, like, it got out to a wider audience than people would have ever seen it just from me. You know what I'm saying? Because people that really grind more and be on here for the views and stuff like that, you're going to see it more from their channel. So shout outs to whatever bootleggers out there that bootleg my shit.
It's a very well-written, well-crafted verse that has no placement. And we all had these verses just in our head, ready to go at any given time. Tell me, what's the beat sound like? I got one for that. But y'all was doing that with no beat. Describe that moment of that videotape.
I didn't realize how important that moment would be.
It was like, that moment is like listening to Stretch and Bob and hearing Big L and Jay-Z rhyme. It's one of those moments.
I think so.
Yeah. This is what Talib Kweli is saying, you know, about the cypher. Right? This is what he's saying about Shades of Hip Hop. Okay? This is what he's saying about yours truly, who recorded the cypher back in December of 1997. He was like, it was like listening to Stretch and Bob. Yes, it was. Because I was a big Stretch and Bob fan. We was a big Mixtape fans back in the 90s. Okay? I'm probably just a little bit older than Talib Kweli and John Forte. Okay, so I was the one that actually had equipment, because you couldn't just record it on your phone, you know, back then. Like, there wasn't no camera phones back then. You had to have actual, make an investment for real equipment, right? I was the one that actually did that and then made it into a video mixtape, because all that footage you never would have seen on cable. You never would have seen on Ralph McDaniel's show, because it was too much cursing. They was smoking, they was drinking. We couldn't play that kind of stuff on cable back then. So that's why I started doing video mixtapes, all right? So that people could hear that rawness that they heard on Stretch and Bob. So that people could hear that rawness that they heard on mixtapes. So that they could see it. So they could see the atmosphere of what was going on. So that they could feel the vibe and the culture of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? They could see what people was doing out in the street that was listening to hip hop. They could see the artists on the all down situations when they wasn't like even in the studio, or they wasn't on stage somewhere, you know, doing a real professional, like, well, that they wasn't doing an interview, but that, as you see, that wasn't like, that was a newspaper interview. That was an interview for a newspaper. That was a whole bunch of random talking for like an hour. But I was recording the whole thing. That's why you ended up seeing it. This is what Talib Kweli and John Forte think about that
Bob and hearing Big L and Jay-Z rhyme. It's one of those movies.
I think so. I think so. And so that moment of sitting around with Torre interviewing us didn't really strike me as profound as maybe it is, until I saw people hitting. It was like, oh, people are, they're tagging me in the video and they're tagging the moment,
right. and this is and all new with the social media. Like, you're being tagged in this, tagged in this new thing that's bringing you back.
And I'm like, oh, I remember that moment, kind of. Yeah, we were smoking cigarettes inside a restaurant, like it was a different time.
Old New York.
Old New York. Old New York. Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe even 11.
See, I told you about this. And see, look, when I talk to John Forte again, man, I'm going to have to make sure that from now on, bro, when you talk about this footage, take credit for being the reason why I fucking recorded this shit. You said the reason why I recorded this shit. John Forte don't even remember. This nigga was high so many times, and then he got locked up after that. This shit didn't mean nothing to them. When they recorded it, when it was doing a normal Village Voice interview, it would have just been that, and it would have never gone nowhere. You never would have saw that shit ever again. You know what I'm saying? There was plenty of times, right, where you do, where artists like that was doing interviews with the Village Voice and these different local newspapers. Like Village Voice was a local newspaper in New York. I don't even know if they're out anymore because newspapers are pretty much dead, but listen, back then you would do an interview like that and it would come out and you would never even think about that shit ever again. But the difference is because Shades of Hip Hop recorded it and put it on the best first original video mixtape in hip hop. And that footage has survived until this day, and it's still one of the best ciphers, especially acapella. See, that was an acapella cipher. None of these other ciphers are acapella, because a lot of these lyrics can't stand up to being an acapella. It don't sound as dope with no beat. That's how you know who's the rhymers and who's not, because a lot of y'all get mesmerized by the beat and then y'all say something is dope. But meanwhile, what these niggas was actually saying, is what rap was supposed to be about. It's about the lyrics. You say, but again, that moment became something else because it was recorded on Shades of Hip Hop video mixtapes and people bootlegged it. That's the other reason, because people bootlegged the hell out of it and they was playing it because it wouldn't technically have been as big if they didn't bootleg. And then everybody just put that shit on social media and shit. But yeah, John Forte, when you fucking talk about this shit in the future, you're gonna have to take credit for the reason why we recorded the whole shit. The reason why that footage exists is because John Forte called my man that was working with Shades of Hip Hop, Marcus Blassigame at the time, and he called for us to do publicity for him. And that's why I went there, was because of John Forte. Maybe 6 months later to a year later, he got locked up and went to jail for like 7.5 years. You know what I'm saying? So, all that shit became a fond memory. That shit was pushed out of his mind. You know what I'm saying?
And we were smoking cigarettes inside a restaurant, like it was a different time.
Old New York.
Old New York. Old New York. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe even 11 a.m. I don't know, but
yes, it was an afternoon.
We were drinking and smoking, and we were.
It was the afternoon on a Tuesday. It was like an off-ass day. It was a regular, just like little restaurant, Match Cafe restaurant. I don't think they exist no more. They don't. I looked them up, but they don't exist no more. There's a little side cafe. We went to like 4 or 5 other different spots before we even got there, because the other spots was like, hell no, y'all ain't bringing all them Negroes up in here. We got kicked out like of 2 places. And then the third spot, I think, was like, that was the Match Cafe. And then people was in there, and then it was still like the maitre d' and them didn't want us in there. So I slipped the maitre d' like $30, $40. You know what I'm saying? I gave him like $30, $40, like, yo, here, let me turn the light on and just record these cats for about 15 minutes. Now that 15 minutes turned into an hour, but I had already paid the dude. And then if he had started to stop the shit, there was a whole bunch of people up in there already. It would have been kind of ugly. It was a dark ass cafe until I turned my fucking camera light on. That shit was like, I think I had a sun gun at that time. That shit was bright as hell, just so it could light up the whole area. So it was like a nice little cafe, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and shit, like a lunchtime crowd, business people from New York. It was like Lower Manhattan. You know what I mean? Just all these like a little business crowd in that. And here we come with all these hip hop dudes smoking cigarettes, talking loud, and then rapping and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is back in the 90s. You dig? So it was a different time back there. just like they said.
Like we were capable of greatness.
Anything.
We're going to go to Cannabis talking about the cipher. All right. On the bootleg, what? I'm sorry.
Take me back to that night from that cipher.
Right.
Big Pun is one of my favorite ever. I mean, this is a crazy night in hip hop. DMX is there. I mean, you're there. Like, what do you remember about that night and those circumstances from that night?
I remember that in that room, tense as it was because of what we all were trying to do in our own lives. We all wanted to come out, make our impacts, plant our flags in the ground, firmly make an impact in hip hop across the world. That's what we wanted to do. We were all American artists, right. Of course, coming from different lineages, right? And then
everyone on the cusp of being the next big thing in rap.
Right. And then ethnically, it was really spread out all throughout. It was spread out. It was a spread out round table, right? But in spite of how intense it was, what I distinctly remember was, as much as each one of us was willing to go hard with them rhymes and other things to make that statement, there was still complete love in that room. And you can look at it and tell like there was love for each other and respect for each. That's what you didn't see anything jump off in there that was like unbecoming of artists that are kind of like in their freshman role trying to get it popping. Like we showed love to each other in that, and there was no security there. We didn't need any extra. There was no hype man there. There was no squads. Nobody had a whole squad standing outside the door. That much I remember. I remember that there was love in that room, and the love, I think, was probably resonant because of the lyrical miracle ability, right? We all had that ability in there, so everybody respected one another's pen game, and we all knew consciously and subconsciously that we were kind of like all up against the same machine. We weren't up against each other. We were up against the same machine because we were trying to get something from the machine in order to go feed our little huskies and our munchkins and branch out.
And once I show y'all the full cipher, I'm gonna go into the details of what was going on at the time. And although Cannabis says that it was all love, I can point to a few little instances in particular that was a little tense. Like he said, it was a tense situation in there. And when we talk about the cipher in full, I'm going to go into that more in depth. All right, I'm going to tell y'all what was really going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pause the tape and I'm going to tell y'all what was really going on. I actually really want to do another documentary, Where Are They Now type of thing, and talk about people's careers and stuff that has transpired since we actually recorded that back in 1997. Everybody's life tells a different story, and mine just happens to be filled with a bunch of underground hip hop. My name is Kurt Nice, and I originated the first video mixtape series called Shades of Hip Hop back in the 90s. But some of the dopest experiences I had in hip hop came after that. Now, throughout the 90s, I was a graphic designer that worked for myself and other companies doing event flyers and CD covers and t-shirts and promotion for different artists and event planners. And as things switched from analog to digital, we had to try to give artists a way to promote themselves. So we started using things like Sonic Bids, and people were in the idea of using MySpace, LimeWire, things like that to promote their music. And we even used something called Live 365, which was a 24-hour internet radio station software that allowed you to have your own radio station. So we began doing that down at the store. And as we built this platform for artists to come promote their music, unsigned artists to get seen and heard, we started having building sessions and doing recording in the store, and people would generally like to hang out afterwards. So instead of doing everything at the store, people smoking and drinking and hanging out downtown in Newark, this is in the arts area before it became what it is now with the Prudential building and Rutgers buying the Haynes building. That was just all just an empty, abandoned building, and then just next to that was a big ass parking lot. It's all new, modernized buildings, and you have the whole center down there that Records promotes the hub down there. But before that, it was just the beginnings of an art community. I developed a lot of cool relationships with all kinds of artists that used to come through the store to hang out or even go down the street to the art supply store, the fabric store, including legendary artist Jerry Gant, who used to be working on a lot of different clothes and stuff at the time. And he also did me that logo.
If you tired of the garbage of what these bastards is doing to our culture outside of EO-Dub, how they with the Laffy Taffy garbage do the Superman two-step and it's like BS that they playing on the radio. If you mad, just like if you mad like I am, that there's too many rappers and not enough MCs, you pump that fist in the air. Man, the quicker y'all put your fist up, the quicker I get busy. Let's go, pump that fist in the air. Let's go, pump that fist in the air. Listen, yo, if anybody's videotaping this, yo, I got something to say to the rappers out there. Yo, if you gonna put it on YouTube, man, label this Dayton Hates Rappers. Listen, yo, this is to Mr. Rapper out there. If you a rapper in the crowd and you fall under what I'm talking about, it's tough for you. Yo, listen, I got something to say, Mr. Rapper. Stop! This is what hip-hop is dead. Homie, this is why. Hold up, I'm like, damn, am I the only person here that has a good set of working in?
This is an overview. The short version is that as we covered the New York underground hip-hop scene for Shades Radio, we met up with KRS-One at an event. Now, after discussing our common interests in hip-hop, he brought me on as his marketing director, which led to me doing public relations for him and the Temple of Hip-Hop. Nobody is more respected on the underground hip-hop scene than the legendary teacher KRS-One. So it was an honor to be asked to go on tour with him for the 20th anniversary Stop the Violence Movement tour and the release of his book, The Gospel of Hip-Hop. But before we headed to California, we made sure to bring the teacher to our favorite spots for at least a walkthrough.
ShadesRadio.com. Stop the violence movement in effect in the building. Right here, 101 Avenue 8, the Pyramid. Black and brown, shot it from the mall. The empty out the door. So you master. Okay. Last verse. Okay. I'm zoning out real quick.
Good. Village looking on the camera. We in front of the EO-Dub, 101 Avenue A, Lower East Side. You know what I'm saying? You see this Grasshopper right here. My man Craig G, man. How you been, man? What's up, man? Yeah. Yo, man, everything's good, man. It's a legendary Juice Crew member. You know what I'm saying? Legendary freestyle. He's so ill. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what you been up to nowadays, man? What's really good, man?
Album in June for Operation Take Back Hip Hop. Got KRS, Sadat X, Talib, Omega, Dilated People. It's out there. Get it. Catch me on the road. Just Google me.
Craig G, that's what it is right there. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Album's called Operation Take Back Hip Hop. No copy. You know what I mean?
Your homegirl, Sarah Connor, end of the week. Lyric, you already know, stop the violence. We can rhyme all we want about it, but at the end of the day, we hungry just like everybody else. New York City all day. And understand, right now, respect the guy when you see him. KRS-One to the death. The Bronx will always ride and die. That's how we do it. Stop the violence. Keep it funky. Write some rhymes. If you're angry, write a freaking rhyme, stupid.
Yo, what up, man? What's up, boy? Y'all bless you. What up? Get it started.
Yo, Jungles, I need these monitors up right here. I need more vocals in these monitors, more volume in these monitors. Hip hop. This is one of those nights that's gonna be a commemorative night for the mighty E.O. Dub. We don't work. We don't work. We're gonna work a long time to put this thing together. No music. Cali, break that down. Break that down.
That E.O. Dub has been here for 8 years strong. We put it together with Shades Radio, Temple of Hip Hop, Stop the Violence Movement.
Yes.
You know, in hip hop, we deal with progression, especially right here inside E.O. Dub. Every Sunday night. And I know all of y'all is ready to get it poppin'. Y'all ready to get it poppin'? Make some noise in here.
Yo, you know what? Just because we got Chili STV,
Yo, Mozzie.
just because we got everything correct, I want the dude, when I count to 3, I want the dude who lives next door on the 4th floor to be waking out of his sleep right now.
Let's wake up the whole block
you know
right
who
now,
the fuck is in the building? E.O. Dub! Make some noise!
Bring some more, give me some more. Can y'all hear me out there?
Turn up the monitors, turn up the monitors.
I'm just passing through. You can still work with this shit. Yeah, you can test the mic too. There's a little too much bass. Damn, I never felt the floor rumble like this. Damn, this is hard shit. Turn the snare up, crack the snare a little bit. Crack the snare, listen y'all. When KRS comes and spit, these DJs with no breaks, I don't wanna hear that shit. The radio, I don't even hear that shit. Gucci Prada, I don't even wear that shit. I'm in the streets, holler, they fear that shit. We blue collar DJs, we here to rip. 900 number, got 2 pairs of it. With MP3, I'm not sharing it. Classic sample and loops, we not clearing it. The life of a DJ, there's no comparing it. Many wanna be, but many more scared of it. Before they start, they already plan to quit. The music, they no longer fans of it. They wanna use it so they can make a grand and shit. The program directors handing them scripts, making them play rock shit and lie from their lips. Y'all get this. This is how we used to do it back in the days. 123 Park, Soundview Park. This is how Zulu Nation used to really get down and do it. And we used to think once was a story about a man, but now Chet is dead and all his kids is dead.
You know what hip-hop means to me? It means freedom. It means I don't have to do what the system says I need to do in order to meet.
Just take the train, man. It's lovely. People are nice, you know what I'm saying? Got my coffee, so I'm happy. That's all that matters. Riding Amtrak, we've been through, I can't even count how many cities.
So we brought in a hip-hop historian, Curtis Jackson. He is not to be confused with 50 Cent. He's the original Curtis Jackson. And so we brought Curtis Jackson in to lend some credibility to why we chose hip-hop as the avenue and the vehicle. Because hip-hop is a culture.